from the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast, July 21st, 2022. We're about to wrap up this week on today's show with a lot to talk about, including so many urgent fixes and patches across the board. Many fixes. Just lets you know, when companies put such a priority on fixing specific vulnerabilities, just how quick adversaries can take advantage of them and how important they are to get done. And so we'll get to all of that on today's show with Cisco, Atlassian, Apple, Chrome, and an Okta issue, and Cyber Command releases some of the malwares and variety of malwares that are being used against the Ukraine for people to see. So we'll talk about all that on today's show. But before we do that, we'll grab our ceremonial double espresso. This is mine. I hope whatever you're drinking this morning, you enjoy it just as much as I enjoy my double espressos in the AM coffee cup. Cheers. We'll start with Cisco patching a severe vulnerabilities in the Nexus dashboard. So the announcement came yesterday on the availability of patches for multiple vulnerabilities in the Nexus dashboard, including a critical severity issue that could lead to the execution of arbitrary command. The Nexus dashboard, which itself is a data center management console that provides admins and operators with quick access to required resources across services and applications. The most severe of the newly reserved vulnerabilities affecting the council is CVE 2022-20857, a CVSS score of 9.8, and could allow a remote unauthenticated attacker to access a specific API and execute arbitrary command. The vulnerability itself is due to insufficient access controls for a specific API. An attacker could exploit the vulnerability by sending a crafted HTTP request to the affected API. A successful exploit could allow the attacker to execute arbitrary commands as the root user in any pod on a node. In the advisory, several other CVEs were highlighted, including 20861 and 20858, two high-severity security bugs in the Nexus dashboard that could lead to a cross-site request forgery attack and to the uploading of malicious container images as well. The first of the bugs exists because of the web UI on affected devices doesn't have sufficient CSRF protection. An attacker who convinces an authenticated admin to click a malicious link may perform actions on a vulnerable device, so a little social engineering required there. These patches are out now by Cisco, and they're urging anyone with using the Nexus dashboard to get those updated. Atlassian, whatever they want to call themselves, they fixed their Confluence hard-coded credential flaw. I'm sorry, I just never been able to get their name right. So they've patched a critical hard-coded credential vulnerability in Confluence servers and data centers that could let remote, unauthenticated attackers log into vulnerable, unpatched servers. The hard-coded password is added after installing the Questions for Confluence app, version 2.7.34, 2.7.35, and 3.0.2 for a user account with the username disabled system user, and designed to help admins with the migration of data from the app to the Confluence cloud. According to the company, the app helps improve communication with the organization's internal QA team. It's currently installed on over 8,000 Confluence servers. Because it's created with a hard-coded password and is added to the Confluence user group, which allows viewing and editing all non-restricted pages within Confluence by default, according to the security advisory. A remote unauthenticated attacker with knowledge of the hard-coded password could exploit this to log into Confluence and access any pages the Confluence user group has access to. It has no evidence that this is being exploited in the wild. However, they have released a update for this and a patch, and they're asking everyone to get it done as soon as possible. Given that we're reporting it, giving it that this is out there, you can imagine that if you're using it, a threat actor knows it's there and is coming for it. Apple ships an urgent security patch for macOS and iOS. It's been a really busy Wednesday for patching with Apple's flagship macOS and iOS devices. There's a Apple's security response team pushed out software fixes for at least 39 software vulnerabilities haunting the macOS Catalina, iOS, and iPad OS platforms. The patches provide cover for numerous gaping memory safety flaws, some serious enough to expose users to remote code execution attacks. Apple's advisory didn't contain any language about in the wild zero-day exploitation of these vulnerabilities, but they are urging everyone to upgrade to 15.6, because of the risk of serious hacker attacks, according to Apple. Chrome 103 update patches several high-severity flaws, so Chrome also updated yesterday, resolves a total of 11 vulnerabilities in the browser, including 6 reported by external researchers. 5 are use after free issues, including 4 that are considered high severity, use after free flaws that are triggered when a program does not clear the pointer after freeing memory allocation. Such vulnerabilities may lead to the execution of arbitrary code, to denial of service, or the corruption of data, but if they are combined with other issues, can allow for a full system compromise. The 4 high severity use after free vulnerabilities resolved with the latest Chrome 103 are tracked as CVE 2022 2477, 2478, 2480, and 2481. Google said it paid $1,600 and $7,500 in bug bounty for the first 2 flaws and none on the other ones. However, they did pay $3,000 for CVE 2022-2479, a high-severity issue related to insufficient validation of untrusted input in the file component. So there you go. This story is a bit interesting because it's really research, but they're saying that Okta exposes password in clear text for possible theft. Researchers say Okta could allow attackers to easily exfiltrate password, impersonate other users, and alter logs to cover their tracks. The serious security flaw that was highlighted by researchers from Optimize says that an attacker could gain remote access to the platform, extract plain text passwords, impersonate users of downstream applications, and alter logs to hide any evidence that they were ever there. Okta said in a blog that the issues are features, not bugs, and that the app works according to design. Last January, Lapsus claimed to have breached Okta with the super user account credentials, posting screenshots that claim to have grabbed from internal systems. It was determined 366 Okta customers were impacted in that incident. Following the news of the Okta breach earlier this year, we focused our efforts on understanding what sort of actions a malicious actor could do if they achieved even a minimal level of access to the Okta platform, according to Optimize CTO Gal Diskin in a security analysis. Diskin explained Okta's architecture for password syncing allows potential malicious actors to access passwords in plain text, including admin credentials, even over encrypted channels. To do so, the attacker would need to be signed into the system as an app admin of a downstream app. Examples include customer service agents or financial operations teams. From there, the person could reconfigure the system for cross-domain identity management, SCIM, to net passwords for any Okta user in the organizations. The report highlights a few more details there. For Okta, they say the passwords are in clear text because there's no standard reliable protocol for syncing hashes. Researchers noted, however, that Optimize noted that Okta did pledge to have its product team take a closer look at these specific risks. Worthy of a conversation with Okta over that. Cyber Command shares bevy of a new malware used against Ukraine. U.S. Cyber Command on Wednesday disclosed dozens of forms of malware that have been used against computer networks in the Ukraine, including 20 never-before-seen samples of malicious code. The indicators of compromise were shared with the command's Cyber Nation mission force by the Security Service of the Ukraine, the country's law enforcement authority and intelligence agency. The disclosure is what's become a regular effort by Cyber Command and other U.S. agencies to highlight hacking tools used by foreign adversaries like Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea to blunt the impact of their digital operation. Earlier this year, the command and other organization for the first time linked notorious Muddy Water hacking group to the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security and uploaded multiple samples of open source tools it utilizes to target organizations worldwide. The IOCs that were shared with us by our Ukrainian partners to enable industry to take action and assess their own networks are actively communicating with our Ukrainian partners to share this cybersecurity threat information. So hopefully these signatures make it downstream to our security partners and to many others so that we can avoid being victims of these types of malware. Earlier this year, General Paul Nakasone testified that the military had provided remote analytics support to Ukraine and conducted network defense activities aligned to critical networks from the outside of the Ukraine, directly in support of mission partner. So the cyber warfare in the Ukraine obviously continues, maybe not at the same pace that it did when the war started there as well. Folks, that's it for our show today. We'll be back with a whole lot more tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, Monday. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, and most notably, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.